Alright guys, welcome to this video. This is going to be a good one. Let's get your donuts ready. Let's get the buffet ready because we're going to talk about why fat doesn't make you fat, but sugar will. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Adam. This is Health First Heroes. Let's dive into this content because we got some juicy stuff to talk about. I'm going to put a few of the things here in the description below, but I want you to check out healthfirstheroes.com for the full show notes, and you can download all this stuff at healthfirstheroes.com. Let's get into it. So there's a couple of studies that I found where a professor of medicine explains why eating fat won't make you fat, but sugar will. This kind of study is challenging the conventional wisdom that's kind of guiding American diets for the past couple of decades. So there's one thing we know about fats, says Aaron Carroll, professor of pediatrics at the Indiana University of Medicine. He writes in his new book, The Bad Food Bible, How and Why to Eat Sinfully. Interesting title. So more and more research is suggesting and thinking that this is kind of dangerously misguided. So just one highlight from the book here, he mentions that fat consumption does not cause weight gain. To the contrary, it might actually help us shed a few pounds. That means that foods like buttery avocados, rich salmon, savory nuts should have a place in your diet. If you ban them as part of a low-fat dieting craze in the 1990s, it's time to bring them back. Overall, the evidence lies in studies comparing people on low-fat, high-carb diets to people with low-carb, high-fat diets. So time and time again, the research reveals that people who restrict their intake of fatty foods do not lose weight or gain other health benefits. In contrast, people who eat diets high in fat but low in refined carbs, like white bread, white rice, tend to lose weight and see other health benefits as well. So to doctors and dietitians, these findings suggest that the real villain when it comes to weight gain isn't fat, but rather added sugar and refined carbohydrates that are quickly broken down into sugar. So they also mention a huge study with 135,000 people on low-fat diets and low-carb diets across 18 countries. The researchers found that the low-fat diets were more likely to be linked with death from all causes across the board here, and found that I was higher likelihood of heart attacks and heart disease as well. People on low carb diets, on the other hand, had significantly lower risk of both of these outcomes. Changes to make. Here are the highlights. So I did some research, and there's a few changes that I wanted to kind of communicate to you that I've practiced in my own life here, and I want to get better at it. It's really, really easy to do. You just have to take time to do it. And as a small segue, I was actually talking to my mom today because she got this plant-based mayonnaise, which made me raise an eyebrow. And I was like, what's in this stuff? And I was kind of looking it up, and there's lots of stuff in there, and overall it's okay, but if you absolutely need mayonnaise. But it turns out there's a lot of condiments and things like that that you can kind of make alternatives yourself, like do some egg whites and some avocado. They're just kind of more all natural things. And I try to focus on spices rather than sauces. So you can put avocado on everything, and so I kind of suggested to her to do more like almond-based avocado olive oil kind of mixture, something like that. But you can actually hop on Pinterest and find some really, really great homemade recipes for a lot of these things that have like 5 or 6 ingredients. Here are some changes that you might want to make. Spaghetti sauce, if you've ever got marinara or something like that from any store, the biggest thing you can look at there is the amount of sugar in there and the amount of sodium. So those are two things that are going to help you like really retain some water. So making your own spaghetti sauce, marinara sauce, would be fantastic because you control exactly how much, 0, sugar that you would put in there. And more importantly, you can also control how much salt goes in there. So you can find really, really creative ways to put your health first. The other thing you can do is make steel cut oatmeal rather than any type of like the bagged Quaker quick oats and things like that. You can also buy bread made with 0 sugar rather than the usual whole wheat bread. So typically, I've never made bread, but apparently sugar is needed to make yeast rise. But that's if your bread takes yeast. Not all bread takes yeast. So you only need about 3 ingredients to make bread, and it doesn't include yeast or sugar. Again, I've never made bread, but this is how they make it all over the world. Try to look for bread that has no sugar in it. It might be really hard to find. When people actually, friends and family actually knead bread. I typically recommend sprouted grains like Ezekiel bread is the go-to option there. You get the idea. This kind of stuff takes time, and you should expect to spend a few extra dollars to actually make this happen, but it's actually possible to find foods that contain a minimal amount of sugar. You just have to really pay attention to this stuff. And it might seem like a lot of work the first month or two, but like any other routine you've ever taught yourself your entire life, once you do it so many times, it's so easy to spot the crap at the store. And it's really unfortunate that 99.97% of stuff at the store is crap and will make you fat and isn't good for you. So you do have to work hard up front to go, how can I make this at home? How can I get the healthiest version of this? But after a few months, it's going to be completely second nature to you. So I've got a lot of show notes that I'm going to put on healthfirstheroes.com that talk about how the body needs fat to function. It doesn't need the sugar. Your body can make its own glucose and things like that without the need to consume carbohydrates. So there's some awesome additional points that I'm going to upload to Health First Heroes. You guys got to check that out. There's a ton of links in the show notes here, so you can download that PDF and see all of this stuff and do the research yourself and try to educate yourself a little bit each week and try to make better and better choices for whatever works best for you. All right, guys, that wraps up this video on why fat won't make you fat, but sugar will. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe, check out healthfirstheroes.com, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.